Let's go to Paul Murray and Sharri Markson. Obviously, yeah, very early days, but always love to get your thoughts, both of you. Sharri, Paul, what's your thinking right now?
They seem to be running on that same platform.
Yep, so Labor sources on the ground here at headquarters are feeling very positive about the results. They say the early numbers that are coming in are very strong for Labor. Interestingly, because Laura's getting her information there from the Liberal side, but from Labor side here, they also pointed to Riverstone as just a regular seat. Nothing special about that seat. A standard seat held 6% by the Liberals, and they're seeing very early, and the results are very early, but very early movement towards Labor. And they're saying that if this is the size of the swing, then it shows that it's really on. They're also keeping a close eye on Oatley, where Chris Minns was today, and Parramatta. Interesting as well, just to indicate how relaxed Labor's feeling. Chris Minns, when the polling booths closed today, he went for a run, took time to do some exercise. Then he's now spending time with his family. There are no advisors, no number crunchers with him. He's at home just with his family and extended family, watching the results come in before he'll eventually make his way here.
But is he checking WhatsApp every 13 seconds? Perhaps you can have your advisors a little further away than you used to. What's interesting to see here is Riverstone in particular, and Michelle Rowland, of course, this is her part of Sydney. This has changed dramatically over the past 20 years, 10 years. What used to be open fields are now quarter-acre blocks. What quarter-acre blocks are now also seeing huge amounts of units that are going into places like along Windsor Road. Remember way back when an election when Kerry Chikarovsky at one point in time was talking about Windsor Road and was going to make it a dual carriageway because it was some sort of way of getting out of the city. It is now well and truly part of the city. Also interesting here is that it seems at this very early stage, with numbers in some seats fewer than 1,000, is that you are seeing a vote move from the Liberal Party directly to the Labor Party, not via minor party at the moment. Interestingly, in places in the inner west of Sydney, there seems to be particular strength for the Labor Party at the moment in Balmain. See what happens, retiring Greens MP. But if you see a scenario here where, and again, the minor party stuff will come out in the next couple of hours, but obviously the swing of a lot of people is that they went from Team Blue to Team Red, and as we've talked about all night, as Chris has mentioned, that first preference scenario, if you're just turning on, is 6 out of 10 people in New South Wales, they vote one and they walk away. And at this stage, well, the Liberal Party, as Laura's saying, isn't even looking for good news right now because there isn't any.
And Paul, this is where it's different from the federal election, because the federal election, as you know, had a very low primary vote for Labor, and they got there with the preferences. But the very early results here are that it is looking strong for Labor. Of course, we might still see a teal get up, especially on the northern beaches, and I hear from people who are on the ground and in those booths today that it was looking strong for the independents. And so this is where it's so fascinating, because if the independents, even a couple, do get up, and this is where Matt Keane had taken the Liberal Party to the left in an attempt to sandbag
He's already on TV
seats.
talking about Liberal pre-selection, all the rest of it. He's already talking about the flawed machine. Yeah.
But if he has failed to sandbag these seats from the Teals by taking the party to the left, then, you know, you'd think the Liberal Party has to go back to square one here and rethink how it's approached a whole lot of policies, including, and most significantly, energy policy.
Well, also, let's be positive here, as people will find it surprising to come out of my mouth, but it's important to know. One of the absolute clear policies that polled really well throughout the election was Minns' policy on tolls. There are so many tolls in Sydney. To cap that at $50, $60 a week, that's why places like Riverstone, which end up using the M7, the M2 multiple times. Look at the tollway seats. I'll leave it to our panel to go through all of those, but basically there's not a direction in Sydney that you don't have to pay a toll. And in an election that wasn't about very much, when somebody tells you this is the max, no matter how many times the little machine goes bing, that's enough to make you go, not via a minor party at this stage, but go straight across the road to want to change the government queue.